black people don't do that? Yes. Here's a picture.
A Different Cry, now streaming on Roku and Fire TV.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening.
7:01 is the current time. Welcome everyone as we stream live here on your upcoming forecast. And again, let me just warn you, there's no warnings out there right now. We have no watches in effect right now. What we are watching is what's taking place back off to the west of us. You can see the radar just right here behind me. Look at the numerous lightning strikes associated with those thunderstorms over to the west of us. Now, that main line that we were looking at is still over into southern portions of Mississippi. So headed toward the Jackson area, where we have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and associated with that line itself. But out ahead of it, we're noticing these thunderstorms really start to pick up a lot of strength. And you can see that by the numerous lightning strikes associated with it. There are 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for southern portions of Alabama right now. You can see the movement of this entire system as it continues to push further off toward the north and east. And so that will impact our northwestern counties first, and then eventually it will make its way down toward the metro area. The current time now is 7 o'clock. And so we're looking at these storms moving in. Could be as early as 8 o'clock that we see a few isolated ones moving into our far western counties, but between the 9 and 10 o'clock hour is where we're expecting to see some of that thunderstorm activity really begin to move in. It is getting very close to our area right now. In fact, let's pause this, and you can see where we have over toward Anniston, Alabama, where we're starting to see some of those lightning strikes get a little bit closer now. So that will be impacting our far westernmost counties. Talking about Randolph County over into Alabama. It's one of our counties, and then moving into our western counties as well. We do have the thicker clouds over toward Rome, down toward Bremen, into Carroll County, Douglas County as well. Southern portions of Fulton County has mostly cloudy skies, but northern portions of Fulton County, you have partly sunny skies. In fact, the sun will rise right around 7:25, and so we'll start to see a little bit of more light in the sky over here toward the east. So places like Gwinnett County over into Borough County, over toward Athens, Eatonton, you'll get a little bit of sunshine in before the clouds begin to push further in. It's these westernmost counties that I think we could see a little bit more in the way of hefty thunderstorms because of the heating of the day. Certainly when that sun rises, it'll start to heat up a little bit, but those clouds will help us out here in places like Atlanta, down through Peachtree City and over toward LaGrange. Now that does not mean that we can't see severe thunderstorms in these areas. It's just more of a lesser threat, I'd say, with that cloud cover in place. Not enough of that instability to cook up a little bit in the atmosphere for those thunderstorms to take place. And so we'll be watching that again as we head through the rest of the morning. Now, a little bit more or in the way of a threat for severe weather will be down into the central and southern portions of the state. We'll say Macon southward, just north of Macon even, maybe as far north as Butts County, Spalding County. We have a few counties in here as well that we'll be looking at. Upson County, Lamar County, Pike County as well, where there could be some very strong severe thunderstorms rolling in and maybe even a tornado or two, especially as we head toward the afternoon. But it's really Macon southward where the threat is a little bit higher, let's say, for those thunderstorms to be around. And so that's something that we'll watch out for. In fact, I do want to show you this. When we look at the environment for tornadoes, when we look at the environment for shear and spin in the atmosphere, that's something that we'll be watching out for as we head into the afternoon. This is what we call rotation here. And I'm going to put this, let's say, about 5 hours in advance. And what will happen is what you're going to see is where the environment is a little bit more conducive for that to take place. And right now it doesn't look as if it wants to pop up there. Let me see. Okay, so if you look at this, this would be where we have a more of a tornadic environment. And you can see that's back off to the south and west of us right now. Now I'm going to advance this. We'll say for the next 6 hours. All right, so as we go forward, notice how that begins to move in our direction. Now the darker yellows is where it's a little bit more favorable for that kind of activity. So when you're looking at this red in here, or that rust color there, it's a little bit more favorable for tornadic activity to take place. Now you notice that line, that white is a lower end threat, and that white line doesn't even move up toward the metro area. It stays mainly over the central portions of the state. I'm going to try to move this here, and you can see over the next 6 hours how that begins to grow into our area, but those darker colors kind of stay over toward the west. And so a little bit more likely to see the tornadic activity, those stronger winds a little bit further down here to the south. Again, over toward the Macon area southward is where it's a little bit more favorable. It does not mean that we can't see that here in the metro area, but it's a little bit more favorable down to the south. And so we'll continue to keep an eye on that as we head through the rest of the afternoon. All right, here's a better look now at some of those thunderstorms that are back off to the west. I did put a lightning tracker on this. It was over just last hour. It was over 1,000. Now we're down to about an 800 count. And so we're starting to see some of those thunderstorms begin to weaken just a little bit as they continue to push into our forecast area. Some of the dew points a little bit higher over here to the west as well. I was looking at some of the dew points here just last hour. For example, in Carroll County, the dew point was in the 40s. Really, for thunderstorms, you want to get those dew points up to about 55. Certainly, as that rain begins to move in, we'll see those dew point numbers begin to go up. And so it will be favorable for thunderstorm activity to be in our area, but especially as we head toward the 9 o'clock hour. So throughout this hour, it's 7 o'clock now. Throughout this hour, we're not going to see much at all. Just the clouds continue to thicken in our area, and then that rain begins to push in. I think it starts off light at first, and then we'll start to see some of those heftier thunderstorms begin to push in as we head toward the evening. Let's track it out for you hour by hour here, and this according to our in-house model. You see how we're starting off with the clouds continue to push in. There will be an isolated thunderstorm that continues to push further off to the north, expecting some of those to weaken as they push into our state. That's typical for us for thunderstorm activity, typically stronger off to the west, and then it moves into our area and starts to weaken just a little bit. Every now and again, you'll get those thunderstorms over toward the west that really start to hang on a little while as they begin to push over toward the east. We're expecting these thunderstorms to really start to get intensify a bit as we head toward mid-morning. So now we are in the 10 o'clock hour, and you can see up here toward the north and west where those thunderstorms I just showed you start to move further off to the north and west. Not really impacting the metro area yet, or even further down to the south. That won't be until we get toward the mid-morning, early afternoon time frame. So I'm pausing it here now at 12 o'clock, and you can see where we have that very heavy rain that's starting to enter into our westernmost counties. Now, flooding will be an issue, something else that we're watching out for. Haven't mentioned that much, but flooding will be a possibility because of that heavy rain in the same areas for a longer period of time. The good news with that is that we haven't had much rain here lately, and so the ground isn't as saturated as what we normally talk about when we've had rounds of rain prior to a storm like this coming in. And so the ground able to sustain a lot of this, but there could be some ponding on the roadways, certainly as this heavy rain continues to push down. Here we are by the noon hour, and again, we'll have some embedded thunderstorms here and there. Some of those thunderstorms could reach the severe criteria, meaning that they could pack a punch as far as the wind speeds go. So you're talking about winds in excess of 60 miles per hour plus, and we can't rule out some hail associated with a few of these thunderstorms as well. Again, that intensification starts around the noon hour, will be with us through the 1 o'clock hour. As we head into the 2 o'clock hour, now we're starting to see some of that heavier rain begin to push a little bit further over toward the east, over toward the Athens area, but we still have it in the Atlanta metro area and then further down to the south. Look at this line, that magenta color there, that very dark or deep maroon further down to the south. That's where we're expecting to see that line of severe thunderstorms, possibly even some tornadoes here pushing further over toward the east. Our southernmost counties, we're talking about Meriwether and Troup County, you could be in on some of that as we head through the afternoon. So we'll be watching you closely as well. Then starting to slide over toward Pike and Lamar counties. By the time we get to the 2 and 3 o'clock hour, with the daytime heating, expecting this line to begin to intensify a bit. But notice over toward our west, our northwest, the rain is starting to taper off a bit. And so your severe threat is not as high up here toward places like Rome, all right, over into Paulding County, Dallas. Not as high of a threat. You're still under a slight risk, but not as high as a threat as we'll see down here to the south. Even some Boeing taking place, according to our model here, over into the Macon area. That is of high concern down there into the central portions of the state. So we'll really have to watch out for what's taking place down into the central and southern portions of the state. All right, let's move it forward here now as we head into the 4 o'clock hour. You notice, according to our model, that even further east now, we'll see that line of showers and thunderstorms starting to dry out just a little bit here in the metro area, although I do think there'll be areas of isolated showers, some isolated thunderstorms still possible, but the bulk of the heavy rain still further down to the south, and those thunderstorms well over toward the east of us now. And so as you're driving into work, I think you'll remain dry. Coming home from work, you're going to avoid a lot of those thunderstorms, especially if you stay at work, and hopefully your job is a place where you have sturdy shelter. What I mean by that is a brick building where if a tornado warning happens to pop up in the area, you can go down to the lowest level of that basement area and kind of stay there, or at least a place in your workplace where you can kind of bunker down if there happens to be any severe threats that happen to pop up in your workplace. By the time you're driving home and leaving the job, things should be a little bit more quiet. All right, we should only have just the clouds in place. A few isolated showers are certainly possible by then. We'll be looking at scattered showers lasting through the overnight going into Wednesday morning. Now, here is the threat that we have from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see that tan area here, just south of the city of Atlanta is where we have that level 3 threat. That is an enhanced risk for severe weather. That's a level 3 out of a possible 5. So again, tornadoes are a little bit more likely down in this area. That includes some of our southernmost counties. And so you're looking at southern portions of Fayette County. Coweta County is included in that. Henry County, the southern portions of your county is included in that as well. And that extends further down to the south in places like Jasper and Putnam County. Also Butts County, Spalding County is included in that. You got Meriwether and Troup County included down to Upson County. Once you get south of there, that literally moves into the Macon viewing area there. But some of our southern counties could be going through this as well, as the northern extent of those tornado cells could be moving up into that area. Now, over the yellow area, or the level 2 threat over the Atlanta metro area, we'll say from south of Rome into Atlanta, where we have that yellow or the slight risk for severe weather. Isolated severe thunderstorms are possible. Isolated tornadoes certainly possible there as well, but again, a little bit more likely once you make your way further down into the south. Now, that is round one of a 2-round threat for our area. By tomorrow, even though things will settle down tonight, by tomorrow with the isolated showers in place, we will see the possibility for more thunderstorms to be enhanced by a cold front that's going to make its way down into the area. That will be as we head into tomorrow. So we'll be looking at another round of severe weather, mainly a level 3 threat, and that will include all of North Georgia, including the city of Atlanta, for the threat for more showers and thunderstorms to make its way into our forecast area. And I apologize here, my mouse has been sticking on me here a little bit. I do want to go back to the radar and show you, if I can get my mouse to cooperate here, where we have this system that's continuing to push through. Again, no watches or warnings over our area right now, but we are anticipating these thunderstorms that you see over here to the west to begin to push in. Numerous lightning strikes associated with, in fact, covering almost the entire state now of Alabama, as these cells began to intensify ahead of the main line, which is still over into Mississippi, out ahead of this main line, began to erupt. Now, again, the dew points here are a little bit higher than our dew points, so expecting and watching very closely for these showers and thunderstorms to begin to weaken a little bit as they cross into the border into our northwestern counties there. Have been seeing some weakening up here to the far north over the Huntsville area, so expecting that same thing to take place over our area as well. Heavy rain still back off to the west as well, and so we'll be dealing with that. Not to mention, to also mention with the thunderstorms that will be pushing in, we'll have that very heavy rain. Hail could be associated with some of these thunderstorms, and also we talked about the tornado threat as well. I'll put this into motion here. I want to show you the general track of these showers or these lines of thunderstorms as they continue to push in. Again, forgive me, my mouse has been sticking just a little bit here, and at times does not want to cooperate with my computer, but I think I can advance it by hitting the space bar there. Okay, and so we can widen this out. Yeah, the mouse just does not want to work there. But you can see, again, those thunderstorms getting very, very close to our area. We have Randolph County here. That is one of our areas that's off into parts of Alabama. But those thunderstorms getting a little bit closer now to Anniston, just to give you a reference point as to how close they are. And here's our western counties here. So we'll be moving in there momentarily. Currently 7:15 is the current time. We'll be watching this begin to push into the forecast area by 8 o'clock. Some isolated thunderstorms pushing in, and then the more widespread rain and thunderstorms pushing in after 9 and 10 o'clock, or between the hours of 9 and 10 o'clock is when we're expecting those to push in. Here's a little wider view here, and you can see where those numerous thunderstorms affecting or inundating parts of Birmingham in Alabama. Numerous lightning strikes down here to the south, just north of the Montgomery area. Numerous lightning strikes as well, just to the northwest of the Birmingham area. And again, all this making its way toward us. So expect that rain to be around starting mid-morning and then will lasting through the afternoon. I know you have afternoon plans. It is spring break. You want to do some things with the kids, but today really not a favorable day for doing that. You may want to just make plans to stay inside, maybe even get some games out to play with the kids, but also keep your phone handy, folks, because if anything happens to turn severe, of course, we'll be here to update you. But we also have our 11 Live app, which is free of charge. By going to the App Store, you can download the app. It will bring you all the latest as far as any severe weather warnings or watches that happen to pop up in our area. And of course, we'll send out any alerts if you need to be alerted of anything that happens to get closer to the area, as far as any lightning strikes or any kind of warnings that we need to update you on as well. Again, go to the App Store, download the 11 Live News app, and it will bring you all the latest. Keep it locked right here. We'll continue to stream as we get these storms closer to our area off and on as we head through the morning.